You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet podcast. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We do have a new caller today. We might have had a new caller yesterday. I'm not entirely sure. But we'll get to it now.
Hey, I'm a first-time caller. My name is Casey from the Harbor up in Michigan.
What's up?
I'm just calling to say I got done watching this game and been listening all week to numerous things. Everybody's talking about how great this Packers team is and all this stuff. And proof is in the pudding, man. And they can't beat an elite team, at least in the NFC. And they're just not good enough.
Okay, again, the issue is with the word can't. Again, let me ask, if they played them 100 times, do you think they would lose 100 times? If not, then you can't use the word can't. Listen, there are a lot of people who have just been not saying anything for a long time and just waiting very patiently for the Packers to fail so that they can have their moment. And there's a lot of that going on right now, right? See, there you go. I knew it. I've been waiting. I've been lurking. I've been all this stuff. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with saying something negative, but there's just a whole lot of like, I knew they were bad, I just couldn't quite prove it, and now I see it, and now I get to say everything I've been wanting to say for a long time. I mean, listen, if the Packers had won, would that prove definitively that they're better than anybody? I mean, let me give you an example. The Packers have beaten a lot of teams, and a lot of Packer fans have complained that it's not evidence of anything for XYZ reason. Now the Packers lose, and it's evidence of everything. I mean, aside from the fact, and again, listen, here's the other question. Was this the Packers playing their best football? If you're saying yes, I don't know what to tell you. The only real question is this just guaranteed to be the way that they play every time they play a quote-unquote good team, which apparently just means every team that we lose to, because if we beat them, then they're not a good team, right? Which, I mean, I can't definitively say no because they've done it every time, but it would be really weird if that was a thing. So I don't know. I want to be okay with critiques. All the critiques go so far in that direction that it just becomes untrue. We can't beat these two. Come on, man. Come on.
The Vikings can't stop the Vikings on offense when they need to, and it's just
they couldn't.
I just think O'Connell totally outcoaches LaFleur, and the Packers are just undisciplined and not good enough. So on the bright side, this will save anybody from being disappointed in the playoffs when they usually, do their normal thing, going to the playoffs and crap in the bed. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, it's going to. I don't think there's any scenario where we go into this playoff saying I think that this is maybe the best team or one of the best teams or whatever the thing's going to be. I think it's pretty evident that the Lions and the Vikings and the Eagles have, I don't know the right way to say it. There's no strong conviction that we're going to beat them. We can have convictions, and again, this is where it comes down to, like, talent is just one component to the thing. And to be clear, that's what I've been talking about is talent. And I stand by every part of that because it's not really debatable. It's all mathematics, right? I mean, but again, it's not a matter of, we got to understand what we're saying and what we're hearing. This is why I've over-explained everything 1,000 times when I say this doesn't mean they're going to win. It doesn't mean they're going to beat the Vikings. It doesn't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl. I say that 10,000 times. Some people think I'm over-explaining. Trust me, I'm not. I'm probably still under-explaining. But that's just because talent is just a component. The Packers' issue isn't talent. It's not that they don't have the ability. We saw the ability in the fourth quarter when they decided to start playing like themselves and really didn't have a hard time with the Vikings. So, and again, think whatever you want to think. It doesn't really matter. There's a lot of people that are very negative about this team, never liked the team, never wanted to believe that they were good, and have just been waiting for this moment for them to actually lose a game so they can just get all excited and whatnot. Whatever. That doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I don't think the positive fans or the negative fans should really feel very good about our chances of winning. Not that you should feel good about... Nobody should feel good about their chances of winning a Super Bowl. 0 teams. If you do, you're just being stupid. Because nobody has a good chance of winning the Super Bowl. I saw a Packer superfan is having his moment on social media. He's been kind of just quietly waiting around, and now that the Packers lost, he is just having the best time of his life out there. But I forget exactly what you said, Packer superfan, but it was something to the effect of like, 6th round and 7th round picks almost, or 6th round, 7th round, 6th and 7th seeds very rarely win Super Bowls. It's like, go back the last 10 years. What are the odds that a team that isn't the Chiefs or Patriots win a Super Bowl? Pretty close to 0. Yes, of course the odds are low. The odds are always low. Why does anybody think the odds are going to be anything other than unbelievably low? Shockingly low. That's the whole problem we seem to be having, is being frustrated with the realization that we have low odds and assuming that the low odds are some kind of a horrible blight and burden that only the Packers seem to be carrying around. We have low odds. We are in the playoffs, unlike most of the NFL. We have talent that most of the NFL does not have. As frustrated as I am with Jordan, he's better than most of the quarterbacks in the NFL. We have a running back that's better than most in the NFL. We have an offensive line that's better than most in the NFL. I don't know where all this talk about wide receivers is coming from. It's the weirdest dialogue. Like a bunch of people are talking about, oh, we got to do something about wide receiver. We got to do... Why? Because one of the guys was hurt. Jaden Reed, we know, doesn't do well against man, which is this kind of a team, which is where you need other guys to step up. But Christian Watson, did I say Jaden? Christian Watson was out. So that's basically 2 wide receivers that are out. We also have a quarterback that's not playing well, which doesn't help our wide receivers. We're not throwing very often, so none of these guys are going to have really good stats because, we don't have the ball very much, and when we do, we were running a lot. I mean, it's just, we're so freaking bipolar, and like, man, one week we just got these great receivers, and everything's wonderful, and the next week it's like we don't have any receivers, and everybody needs to go. We need all new receivers. It's like, what are you guys talking about? What are we going to do? What are you talking about? You're mad because they have Justin Jefferson and we don't? Guess who else doesn't have Justin Jefferson? Literally anybody else. I'm so sorry that makes you sad. I'm sorry. And there's a lot of stuff the Vikings don't have. But you know what? They don't make excuses. Same with the Lions. Injuries galore. And they continue to win. We have plenty of talent at wide receiver. Just like we have plenty of talent at pass rusher. The problem is sometimes it doesn't show up, which is the bigger issue. So you can go add as much talent to that as you want. You go out and get as many wide receivers as you want, but if you have a group of people that just decide not to play sometimes and then compound that with injury issues, it is not going to matter. It's also just weird because I don't know how we pin anything on just one thing. This game should prove we need wide receivers. How do you get any one takeaway from this game? If you think we need wide receivers, then I would counter that with we also need a new quarterback, new tight ends, new offensive line, new defensive tackles, and edge rushers. We need new linebackers aside from Edger and Cooper, new safeties. Why is the one takeaway wide receivers? I have no idea what football game you guys watch. Like everybody was really good except the receivers just kept dropping passes. What were there, 2 to 3 drops in the game? We got the crap beat out of us for 3.5 quarters. That's at most a drop a quarter. I'm not saying they played well. I'm just saying it's weird to have some solid takeaway about one thing. And then again, the whole doing victory, a lot of these are probably people that didn't like our wide receivers to begin with. So this is their moment to come out and say, see, I told you. I'm very sorry to a lot of people. This game doesn't tell me anything. It's like if Devontae Adams played really well all year and then had a bad game, and then people that just for whatever reason didn't like Devontae came out and they're like, see, I told you he's not that good. Okay, sorry, but I'm not going to accept that, to be honest. Because I don't think this one game is indicative of every data point that we have up to this point. Like, this one supersedes everything else. And there's too many people that want this game to supersede everything else. This game is the only one that we're allowed to take anything away from. The one game where we saw people, if anything, this is the one you take the least away from. When you see everybody not playing like themselves, and this is the one I'm supposed to take seriously. Why? Again, do I trust the team to be at their best? No, I don't. But that's it. That's the only takeaway. I'm not going further than that. Pretending that like this is Jordan all the time, and this is the receivers all the time, and this is the offensive line all the time, and this has been our pass rush all year. None of that is real. None of that is real. Anyways, hate to pick on you at your first call, but it's just I would have phrased it differently, I guess is all I would say. Are they good enough to win? Technically, yes. Are they going to win? Well, nobody has a better than 50% chance. Do I think that they have a lower chance than a lot of other really good teams? Yes, I do. And again, my specific take on it is it's not a talent issue, and most people probably don't care, and that's fine. But I don't like that people are pretending it's a talent issue, because if you don't properly acknowledge the issue, you certainly can't properly fix the issue. Not that any of us have the ability to, but I have to do a show where I try to properly say things. But I don't know. I guess I would just be curious. Is that the take of some people? Would some people want to call it and say, I think that this is what the team has looked like all year? Because again, it's not about the Minnesota Vikings. Well, they just look bad because it's the Vikings, and that's the point. But that doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense insofar as the Vikings actually made things happen. What does that have to do with lining up improperly? What does that have to do with drops? What does that have to do with inaccurate passes? What does that have to do with not being able to pick up the blitz? What does that have to do with not being able to generate pressure against a team that gives up a lot of pressures? I can give you the answer to the question. It means nothing. So I'm not going to accept this notion that I've been listening to you for 5 weeks, give data points based on what's been happening for the last 5 weeks, and I never accepted it then. But I didn't say anything because I didn't have any counterpoints. But now that they lost, I'm going to tell you that I never believed it, and I'm going to expect you to accept that I'm right because they lost a game by 2 points. I'm not in no way going to concede that. Anyways, appreciate the call.
Ryan, what's up? Kyle from Madison.
What's up,
Well,
man?
the game just ended. Oh boy! I mean, good to see him come back at least. There's no world in which the Vikings are like a 17-point better team than us, but just bad. I'm
just going to criticize everybody today, whether you're positive or negative. I think they look like a 17-point better than us team, that's for sure. But I am glad that we came back.
Most of that game we were bad. Everybody bad. Just everybody bad, and a lot of it we did to ourselves, honestly. And give the Vikings credit. The Packers inexplicably were not prepared for the blitz today, and I don't know why. It's crazy to me. I mean, you see these camera angles. I mean, Love just was okay, but my goodness, like you look at this, they're all long developing plays. There's nobody short. I can't wait to see the all 22 of this.
Well, and that's, again, I don't know that there's nobody short. I know that Jordan stood in the pocket all day. I have no idea. I don't know. There might have been a couple times when it appeared that way based on what we could see, but I don't know. Just the overgeneralizations in general at this point are going to annoy the crap out of me. Just so we're clear on that, right? Jordan did not that you're saying this, but the idea that Jordan didn't have time or was under pressure. No, he wasn't. There were a billion plays where he had plenty of time to get a pass off and didn't. Although there was a decent amount of pressure. And the offensive line absolutely had no ability to pick up a blitz, and I don't know why. They were completely unprepared. This is the second, again, what happened against Detroit? Very simple bull crap against people that are not very good. Not saying Minnesota's not good at blitzing, because they are. But this, I don't know. I don't want to say it's simple or basic, but it's certainly something that at least once in a while would be nice for you to be able to pick up. But they really, really I mean, it was annoying, too, because we would bring extra guys, and just for the first time, none of them got home. None of them. Like, we'd bring linebackers, like, here they go, and they just get stuck. And it's like, what the hell? Like, that usually always works, and it's just not working. And it is not because of the greatest offensive line in football. It's not because, well, that's what happens when you get up against a good team. No, not a great offensive, not as good as our offensive line. They're just not. They were better in this game, but again, I'm not going to make this game the only game that is relevant for any amount of data points or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Just couldn't pick up a freaking thing. And that was what I said at the end too, where it was like, it certainly seemed pretty easy. We got some quick out routes developing here. And maybe as Matt LaFleur, maybe 0 times in the game they ran out routes or slant routes or anything under 10 yards. But hilariously, the stat that we heard going into like the fourth quarter is that Jordan Love didn't complete a pass beyond like 8 yards. By the way, I've been going back and forth with your call this entire time, and it just wasn't recording. I guess I just wasn't paying attention. So let's run back through everything that we just talked about here, Kyle.
Because, like, in what they showed on the broadcast, there's nobody short. There's no outlet passes. There's, like what are we doing? Offensive line's trash. You know, I don't know. Love, there was several times where it's so weird because last week he's dirting the ball, right? This week he's out of the pocket, and instead of dirting the ball, he takes a sack. That wasn't great. I don't know how well he threw the ball. I have no idea. I have to see some other film. Definitely some big-time drops. I mean, the one that comes to mind, he hits Dobbs as Dobbs is laying there in the chest, and somehow Dobbs still drops it.
Yeah, the Dobbs drop is one of the more inexplicable drops I've ever seen. Just in terms of, I don't know that I've seen, maybe I'm slightly misremembering it. I don't know. I don't know if he kind of dove for it or what exactly happened, but it just seems odd to me because it seems like one of the easier ways to catch a football is if you're like sitting on the ground and just your whole body is cradling a football. And it's like, oh, you actually caught that. That's crazy. And just somehow it just popped out. I don't even know where did that opposing force come from to make that launch away from his body? He's already in the ground. It's not like it was contact with the ground. I have no idea. I don't know, man. It's just one of those freaking games where magic is working against you.
Some big drops, but then the penalties, man, the penalties destroyed us. You know, it was like, let's just punt on 1st and 20. It was one of those games. You knew it was over. And the calls, man, I went to high school with Mike Carr. He's number 63, the line judge that called that illegal formation on the field goal. I'm sorry, that's about as ticky-tack as you're going to get.
It's not even ticky-tack because it's not, I mean, there was nobody, it was clear. It was clearly not a penalty. Again, you could argue their guy was lined up offsides a little bit, but certainly wasn't us. I will say we've reached the point on social media to where it's like, all right, we've got to let that one go. Super frustrating, I get it, but that's all I'm seeing on social media, and we're kind of becoming that fan base. It's like we got the living dog crap kicked out of us for 3.5 quarters, and we're going to sit here and talk about a penalty. I know we lost by 2. I get that. Again, butterfly effect doesn't mean we would have won the game. I don't know. It's a bad call. We had calls go in our direction too, and let's not pretend that we didn't, because we absolutely did. I mean, even on that Justin Jefferson reception, not that it would necessarily matter. There were 2 penalties on that play. He had Valentine grab him from behind and then grab his arm as he's trying to make a catch. It's like, so I don't know, but yeah.
So there's 3 points there. That's the difference. And then the defense was terrible. In huge stretches, they were terrible. I mean, Kevin O'Connell basically came up with Jeff Haskins like, give me your lunch right now. Just give me your lunch and shut up and don't tell anybody about this right on the playground. He just took his lunch from him. And it continued the entire freaking game. Obviously, that's a play action there at the end. How do you not know that he's going to do that? He's been passing all the time. He just about lost the game for his team because he was so freaking sweaty to pass the ball. O'Connell just thirsting. I thought O'Connell really showed that he's a young coach and had some immature coaching calls there. He should have run the ball in that second last series. I'm glad he didn't. And then LaFleur, just uncharacteristically backwards on some of his coaching decisions. I agree. He made the right call on the 2-point in that.
That was the one thing he did all day that I massively disagreed with. I have no idea what the point of that was. 0. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, it's one of those things that you maybe do at the end of a game if you're being unbelievably aggressive, where it's like, we could, an extra point ties it, but we're going to go for 2 for the win, except we're not even to that point yet. We don't even know if we're going to get there. why are we doing that now? I don't. But again, I'm sure everybody liked the call because it worked. That's great. And they don't like the calls that don't work. I understand that. But I thought that was unbelievably stupid.
Mario, I agree with that. But inexplicably, I mean, I guess I can't complain. I was just complaining about how, well, if you never go for it, no one's ever going to jump. Well, I guess he went for it. It was just a terrible decision. Just kick the field goal or in the game, go down 1 point. That one came back to bite us. Of course it did. You knew it was going to. That was a terrible. That just didn't make any sense to me. Yeah, sure, it works, when it works, blah, blah, blah. I hated it. I don't care. It's too close of a game.
Yeah, and I could try to find it and find the calculator. Again, I'm always a go for the points, take the points guy. I know most people are not. Most people are absolutely go for it people. That's why, I can't speak for you, Kyle, but if the vast majority of Packer fans want to come in here and be like, we should have taken the points, you're all freaking lying to me. You're all lying to me because every single one of you wants to be more aggressive, wants to go for it, wants to do all this stuff. And then when your plan doesn't work, all of a sudden you're going to pretend it's not your plan. Shut up. Get out of here. But yeah, I don't know what the analytics say on that. I usually disagree. I shouldn't say I disagree with the analytics. I'm just shocked by the analytics all the time because it's the exact opposite of what I would do almost all of the time. And yeah, that's something you're almost never going to have me fight against you on is not taking the points and having that bite you and saying we should have taken the points because I always want the points. Early enough in the game, that is. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got AA Ron and then Kyle called back. You know what? We'll do Kyle first. I don't know why. How does that keep happening? Like 3 minutes gets him and we don't get the call for 3 minutes later. I don't know. Whatever. We'll come back. We'll hear from Kyle.
Sorry, 3 minutes got me there. I don't know where it was, but I was just saying it's just inexplicable how, everything we did right last week, we did wrong this week. The decisions, to throw the ball away from the quarterback, not being prepared for the blitz, and then LaFleur kind of doing, like I said, with the exception of the 2-point call. I appreciate that call. That is the right call because then now you get a touchdown and field goal, and now you win instead of tie. And if you don't get it, you get another chance for a 2-point to tie it up. So I'm sure people would be mad about that, but to me, that's the right call because you're on the road. But
I don't like that. It's like, I understand you get a second chance, but I don't want to be in a situation now where we have to, first of all, we have to get a touchdown, not a field goal. There is no 2-point conversion on a field goal. Because remember, we were down by 2, we would have been down by 4. So a field goal not only does it not win it, it doesn't even tie it, you lose with a field goal. So you have to get a touchdown. I think it was a terrible decision. But yeah, even if we're talking about a touchdown now, yes, you get a second attempt at a touchdown. But now we're in a situation where you have to get a 2-point conversion just to tie it, which is a horrible position to be in my opinion. But whatever.
I'm sorry, but I don't understand early in the game there. With the kind of game it is, it's a long 2 to just, and it's a very makeable. It's not like we're talking about even like over a 40-yard field goal. It's a chip shot field goal. You take the freaking points there, dude. God, I was furious. And I don't even care if they get it there. I'm furious. It's the wrong call. And he's been really solid, I thought, this year with his game management. Now it's just absolutely the wrong call. I thought there were some pretty bogus penalties in this one, too, but there's no way you can blame the refs. I'm sorry. We just played bad in every facet of the game. Every facet of the game, we were not good.
Right.
Now, that being said, it's not all rainbows and puppies for the Vikings. It's hilarious to me. They don't have a kicker. They got a problem. The Vikings have a problem, big problem. They do not have a kicker going into the playoffs, and they have a history of needing a kicker. So stay tuned on that one. I'm sure they're going to be smelling their own farts all week. Everybody's going to be crowning them. So that'll be interesting to watch. And I hope this hurts the Packers. It certainly hurts the fans, but like I said, going into this, you got to hear all these, talking heads say that they can't beat whoever. And yeah, it's fair criticism, man. I mean, they haven't. Now, psychologically, I don't like losing, but I tend to kind of like it when the teams kind of overestimate their own skill against us in the playoffs. We dropped 2 to the Lions, we got to drop 2 to the Vikings, and we dropped the game to Philly, and we're going to have to probably face at least one of them. So, but yeah, right now, Super Bowl is off for us until we get, I don't know what it'll take to convince me. I mean, anything can happen, but that was really a disappointing performance in every phase, planning, execution, the whole thing. Nice to see them fight back. Hopefully we got out without major injury, but yeah, back to the drawing board, gang. If you want to get where you want to go, we're not there right now. So hopefully Jair and Watson make a big difference, but yikes.
Well, and again, you're obviously coming at this from the standpoint of this is what the team is, as opposed to this team didn't show up. Like we didn't see them at their best. In your opinion, this was them at their best, and this is just what happens when they're at their best. Because if that's not the case, then I don't know what you just said down the stretch there that made any sense. And that's just what I disagree with. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole 1,000 times. I don't know how we watch that game and that performance and say that's just how good they actually are, and this is why they're not going to win a Super Bowl. And if the thing is, well, I now think they're not going to win a Super Bowl because I saw that they were going to fall off. Like, well, that was always in play. That's the whole point. Like, I don't know. Maybe you were massively optimistic that they were just not going to have one of these fall-off type games, I guess. But I certainly wasn't. That was always on the table. But I don't know. I guess I'm in the minority here that watched that game and thought that wasn't them at their best. Most people look at that and go, well, I guess that's just how good they are, rather than just acknowledging that they didn't show up for the game. I don't know. I don't know how we're seeing things so very differently.
Chris from Alabama, one more time, man. I wanted to call back in because I know it's going to be a lot. I ain't going to say a lot. I know it's going to be some calls and everybody going to give up and say we ain't going to be able to beat the big teams and we ain't going to be able to keep up with the Detroits and the Philadelphias and Minnesotas and all that other world. We lost the game, true enough. But if we would have just gave up and got pounced on by 17 plus points, I would have been right there with everybody that's about to, all the naysayers. I know I'm gonna get on Facebook and X and all the other platforms, and we gonna have 60% of the fans, oh, it's overseas, we're not a good team, and blah 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 blah. Bro, look, we lost the game by 2. We could have lost the game by 17. But being that we went and fought and battled back into this, lets me know that this team can still go to the Super Bowl, man. We just got to finish the job. And we still got time. We clinched the playoff berth. We basically playing for position. It really don't matter. Yeah, I know Jordan had a very bad game today. It could have been a worse stat line than what it was. I get all that. I'm telling everybody, man, calm down, take a chill pill. Let's not overreact and get to talking about how sorry of a team we are. We are 11-5. We very well should go 12-5 because we play the Bears next week. That should be an easy win. Should be a win. Will be a win. So let's calm down and take a chill pill. Let's not overreact to the situation. Because I know the calls are going to come in and talk about how bad of a job Love did and LaFleur with the play calling and all this other good deal, man. Look, we good. We're 11-5. We in the playoffs. We going to sit back, watch this Falcons Commander game and see what happened on this game. It really don't, the position don't really matter to me. I feel like we can beat anybody in this playoff. I still feel like that, even though we lost today. So nothing changed my opinion on that. Whether we're the 5th seed, the 6th seed, the 7th seed, we're in the playoff, we're in the dance, and no matter where we're going, we're gonna handle our business, man. Everybody, let's not overreact to the situations. Let's just take this as we took an L, learning experience right before the playoffs. This is the one we can get right now. We're not in the playoffs and lost this. We can get this. We got something to give. We got 5 to give. We good. Go Pack, go, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a broken record. I just, again, I'm not. You can be worried. Go ahead and be worried that we're not good enough. I don't care. I really don't. My issue is not that they don't have the talent. My issue is, are they? I don't know, man. Let me put it this way. They showed a video after the Vikings won the game, And, they had Darnold up on their shoulders. They were popping champagne and throwing it in everybody's faces like they just won the Super Bowl. And a lot of Packer fans are looking at that like, how freaking embarrassing that you did this for a regular season game. And to some degree, I understand that take. But on the other hand, maybe that's the difference. Look at how much this game meant to them compared to how much this game meant to us. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe they want it more than us. And maybe that's the issue. Again, I'm not going to be budged off the talent thing. But again, I don't know how much it matters if our team just kind of ho-hums its way through this. I don't know. Maybe some teams just want it more. Some teams are going to be more disciplined. Some teams are putting in more work in the throughout the week to get prepared for the game. The mental preparation, the emotional preparation. I'm not sure. I don't know. That's what's made this part so hard. It's so easy to look at it and go, we need these types of players. We need this, that, or the other thing. I mean, if they had continued with no pass rusher, if we had continued with bad corner play or whatever, it's like, we need a corner and maybe that will help, or we need a quarterback, or we need a wide receiver, or we need this or that or whatever, a pass rusher. It's easy to do that. You just find a thing that has underperformed the entire season and say that, that certainly having this would help us and maybe it'll get us over the hump. Who knows? I don't know. Well, let's get it and then we'll reassess. The issue that I'm seeing is, and it's been this way forever. I mean, certainly as long as Matt LaFleur's been here, but even before that, it's not an issue of we're not talented enough. It's an issue of just complete implosion, right? I mean, how many playoff games did we lose because we gave it everything we got but weren't as good, as opposed to playoff games that we lost because we just didn't show up? And even if we weren't as talented, that's not my question. Let me just simplify the question. How many times in the game in which we lost did you see the best version of the Packers? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe 2009, maybe. I mean, although the defense was a complete disaster in that game, and it was actually a pretty good defense that year, so I don't know if we could say that. I don't know. I would love it if, and granted, no matter what, even if we had won this game, the odds that we win the Super Bowl, I'm sorry to tell you, would be less than 50%. It would still be rather unlikely that we would end up winning a Super Bowl. There is nobody that would have been likely to this day, 0 people are more likely than not to win a Super Bowl, whether that's the Lions, the Eagles, the Chiefs, whatever. If you don't believe that, by the way, I don't know why you aren't rushing out to put money on something. If you think somebody has better than 50% odds, because the Vegas is going to give you incredible odds, I'd be putting a ton of money on that team right now. It's the whole put your money where your mouth is thing. But I would just appreciate it if we could just get a solid effort from this freaking team in that game and then lose. Because then everybody can come out and say, see, we weren't good enough. And it's like, yeah, you're right. We weren't. We weren't good enough. We weren't as good as that team. But at least we get the freaking effort, for crying out loud. I just want it. It's just so frustrating to see a team. And I don't want to say they don't care, but it's like, man, it doesn't seem to matter as much to you. And that's a little annoying. By the way, Kyle, I did go run the calculator, and it does say go for it. I'm just saying. As you put in the season, what team is on offense, who's the away team, who's the home team, in what year, what quarter, how many minutes left, how many seconds left, how many timeouts, how many yards to go, how many yards from the opponent's end zone, score differential, and then it says there it's close. It is close, but it's a positive 2% win percentage to go for it. So it says the win percentage, if you go for it, overall is 54%, 52% if you go for a field goal. It says you have an 89% chance of making the field goal, a 57% chance of converting. However, if you succeed and make the field goal, you have 53% chance of winning. If you convert the fourth down, you have a 61% chance of winning. So, again, I never agree with that or do that anyways, and I would have kicked a field goal, but just so we're clear on the official, should he have gone for it, the answer to the question in that situation is yes. Actually, let me look at the 2 points now, because I don't agree with that. Let me see if I'm wrong about that one, because they also have a 2-point conversion calculator. Yeah, it says kick the extra point. Again, close, but it says kick the extra point.
Hey, brother. Snaps.
So,
Just, man, I don't know. I don't really know what to take from it. I thought after the fumble, I was like, all right, well, here we go with another one of these days. But, like spined up a little bit. Then when they scored to start the half, it was kind of like, ugh. And then the turnover was massive, right? That kind of sprung some things. But I mean, there's a ton of stuff, right? There's offensively, it took us a second to get going in the passing game, and then when we were desperate, we started to kind of find some stuff. Defensively, we were stout, but again, there was a couple, the touchdown, the first touchdown they scored was a mix up. It'd be nice, even though it's all kind of crying over spilled milk, but when you do get it to down 2 and it's miracle time, I mean, the chances, pulling out miracles are exactly why they're called miracles, but it would be nice to get that third down stop, and give it a chance. And I just don't feel like our team has done that very consistently ever in the last, 15 years. I don't know. I guess I don't feel any better or worse than I did when the game started. I think we just kind of have to accept the fact that we're a slightly above average team, and if for some reason we happen to play the way we're capable of playing and it's mistake free and clean and whatever else, I mean, I don't think we can't beat anybody in the league. But we just haven't been able to show.
Well, and this is where maybe I'm just not understanding what people are saying, because I don't see those two things as being the same thing. As far as whatever your phrasing was, a barely above average team or whatever, certainly cannot beat anybody, even at their best. That's why they're only a barely above average team. I think they are an above average team, certainly. I don't know that they're the number. I don't know where they are. Again, according to DVOA, they were like third or something. I don't have any issue holding on to that. Granted, they're probably going to plummet after this game because, you played like a freaking bottom 5 team in this game. But again, I'm not going to assume that that's because they are a bottom 5 team. It's just a team that didn't show up. I don't know. But yes, I agree. They can beat just about anybody. And again, I'm talking about best on best. Your best versus our best. How many teams can you beat? My takeaway from this game is not that our best versus the Vikings' best means we can't win. If that's your takeaway after watching the Packers not give their best, I don't know why that would be your takeaway. But again, I don't. Maybe we're just not saying the same words here.
That against especially the better teams. So why believe it now? So I guess you just got to kind of hope that maybe we get in the playoffs and that some things click, and it'd be nice to get Alexander back.
Well, and they've been clicking. Again, it's not like things aren't clicking. Things have been clicking really well since the bye. This is their first off game the entire time. But again, the frustration is you didn't want to see it. You really didn't want to see it, especially against the Vikings, because then you're going to have the they can't beat the Vikings crowd, even though this in no way dissuaded me from believing that they can't beat the Vikings, because why would it? They didn't play their best. They didn't show up. Again, unless the argument is they can't bring their best to the Vikings, which I don't even know. How do we get to that point? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Do the Vikings have like some weird invisible force field that makes us drop passes and throw bad passes and stuff? Is it some kind of a spell? Like, are we talking voodoo now, or what are we talking about? I don't know.
Some stage, and some of the other people healthy, but I'm kind of over the Alexander thing too, man. Like, you ever going to play, man, at some point,
Well, it makes it harder too, because again, from my perspective, I don't think Valentine or Stokes have played a bad game in 4 to 5 weeks. Like they've been doing just fine. Issues with linebacker safety, Bullard in particular, yes. But I mean, I'm to the point of being a little worried bringing back Jair because we got a thing that seems to be working pretty well. And you get a Jair that comes back and just has a bad day and gets cooked, and it's like, well, it's going to make me throw up in my mouth to say this, but we probably should have just left Stokes out there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. It's a crappy situation that we're coming into right now where we're probably not going to see Stokes, Jair until the playoffs, if then, probably then. And it's like, man, this guy has hardly played all season, and we're going to throw him into the freaking Lions' den in the playoffs. It's a bad situation.
Everybody else is out there battling through it all. I mean, Cooper looked like he had to walk off about 10 times, but he was still out there grinding it. Man, I wish we would have won. I think O'Connell's a good coach. I don't like him at all. I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just don't. That's it. Everybody have a good New Year's. Stinks.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of what's happening right now is it was so frustrating to lose to the Vikings that the easier thing for a lot of people to do is to just give up on the team. To just walk away from them, you know? It's easier that way rather than staying by the team to just say, I give up on this team. They're no good. They're garbage. They can't do it. They're not talented enough. The Vikings are better, and just flock to our rivals and start worshiping them for some reason. I don't know why that's like an innate human tendency, but I don't know. Just is. And there's going to be a lot of that, especially, like I said, in the first 24 hours of the game. There's so much anger that it's just, I'm just going to be as mean as I can to the team and see they can't do it. And it's just, I don't know, just a lot of emotional hedging or something, you know? It's not wanting to believe in the team because you don't want to get hurt, right? Which I think the people that tend to be the most negative are the ones that have, that get the most emotionally hurt by a loss in the playoffs. It's a weird thing about, you think about like the negative fans and the positive fans. Like the negative fans tend to be more like hard and the positive fans are more soft. But in reality, I think that's the exact opposite. Positive fans have this incredible ability to watch a loss and it just doesn't affect them. I don't have that ability. It hurts my soul. And they're just like, well, I still love my team. And so what, do you even care about this freaking team? Like, how did that not break you as a human being? Like, well, we're going to be great. We're going to keep marching on. They have much more emotional resilience than I do. And certainly the hardcore negative fans have no emotional resilience whatsoever. They keep themselves at arm's distance, which is why they're negative all year. They have to keep themselves at arm's distance the entire time and never allow themselves to get too close, because then when a loss happens, it hurts too much. And will only allow themselves to embrace the team if and when the Packers win a Super Bowl. That's the only time you'll see the hyper-negative fans ever be positive. Because otherwise, they have to keep themselves at arm's distance the entire time from the team. Because it's just too emotionally damaging. And I know that because I'm that dude. Like, I know this team's going to freaking hurt me. I'm sitting here, and that's the thing that sucks too, is it's like I'm emotionally broken from that freaking Vikings game. That hurt my soul. And now I got to fight Packers fans on every front who want to come at me for just reporting the news and want to flail wildly and pretend things that aren't true are true. And it's just like, this is why losing sucks so much and having a podcast. Because I got to battle myself and how much this sucks. And then I got to deal with the overly negative crowd coming in and just saying stuff that's like, God, just everyone, I swear. Can we just win every single week, please? I can't imagine being a Bears podcaster. I think that would actually be better, because the Bears do suck, and it'd be easy to just sit around and say they suck, and then everybody calls in and they say, yeah, we suck, and then I'm just like, yeah, dude, they do suck, and then we all just get angry together and we all agree about being angry, although we wouldn't agree, because then there'd be like the Caleb defenders who got to rally the freaking wagons around Caleb, like he's really good, and I'd be like, no, I know he's not very good. Oh, he's good. Oh, my Lord. There's no escaping it. It's better to win. It's the bottom line. It's just better to win all the time. Let's take a break. We'll come back and hear from Omar, the firefighter.
Oh yeah, so this old motherfucker called back in. I am still not as mad, but one thing that's pissing me off is that same thing me and you said is people always having, breakout records and stuff. So the fact that their quarterback got his passing record on us is just like,
right.
But again, that don't matter.
And let me just bring up the same point I've brought up 1,000 times. Is that because we have the worst pass defense in the entire NFL? Is that what you genuinely believe? This team that has been one of the best defenses the second half of the season, actually this entire time has been a fluke, and really they just have the worst pass defense. Is that an honest take that you're having, or are you just doing that emotional distancing thing because it's easier on you to just do that? It's very obvious. It's very obvious that this is not the worst pass defense in the entire NFL. That's so unbelievably stupid. Because it's not about being the worst pass defense. It's about having it's about a good defense suddenly playing like the worst team in all of football. It's just for a week. It's just for a week. But it's just a reminder to all of us that this is what's going to happen at some point. It just happened. It's going to happen again. You're not going to know when, but it's going to suck, and it will be a playoff exit. That's just letting you know. That's the part that sucks. But no, Darnold did not just play the worst defense he's faced this entire year. He maybe had his best game while the Packers had their worst game.
What matters is who holds the Lombardi Trophy. So, again, if we got to play the Vikings or the Lions, I'm not fearful either one of those teams in the playoffs. So, the only team that I would prefer not to play is the Eagles. All the other teams that's in the playoffs, I would literally bet money we could win. So we just need to play a complete game. We done faced everybody's complete game, and we right there.
I mean, the thing that scares me the most about the Lions and the Vikings, I think even as opposed to the Eagles, is these guys give their best all the time. I mean, they are a well-coached team to the point, from the perspective of they don't seem to just have these imploding games, at least not this year. They're going to give their best pretty much every week. And so the only benefit of playing a team like the Eagles is they're a little bit more susceptible to just falling apart. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to give them any credit. The players and coaches all hate each other, for crying out loud. So as far as having a good culture, give me a break. It just gives us a little bit of leeway that, we probably have to play our best to beat the Eagles, but there is an outside chance that we don't have to play our best because they're not going to play their best. I don't know that we're going to catch the Vikings or Lions on a bad day. Maybe because it's the playoffs and all bets are off and different things happen in the playoffs, as we know. But that's the only thing that makes me nervous. It's not even, again, foregoing the whole talent conversation. It's a matter of, I mean, if you bring your best every week, that just in and of itself makes it scary.
At the end of the day, records don't matter when we get there. But, man, I don't know if we need to spend some money in free agency. I don't know any, free agents. Maybe you can look it up. I know it's off season yet, but some free agent D linemen that we might bring in, spend some money on. We did a good job last year, so we just pick up, one or two pieces. And I'm telling you, we there, and we can run through this. So, anyway, go back up.
Yeah, and I'll just say what I've been saying the entire time. I don't think it matters. And I've been saying that since 2019, 2020. What does it matter? We've been the best team, and then we implode. So what? So you go get more players, and then, we're a really good team again, and then all of our team, including that new really good player, just don't show up for a playoff game and we lose? I'm less concerned with stacking more talent on the team and more concerned with how the hell can we get this team to actually play at its best consistently. And I understand maybe it's unfair to expect them to never have a bad game, because I don't know if any teams have never had bad games. The Vikings and Lions have probably had bad. We know that the Lions have had bad days, freaking throwing a bunch of picks, and then the Texans throw a bunch more, and that's the only reason they win that game, right? They've all had bad games, but I don't know. it would have to be a thing to look into, which I would be interested in. I doubt anybody else would, because I can't even get people to admit that this isn't how bad the team is. I don't think we want to get super in depth right now, but I mean, that would be the question. Like, how often does the team just not live up to its standard or anybody's standard for that matter? And maybe the Packers aren't in that bad of a way because, again, since the bye week, I mean, the Bears game was certainly not up to anybody's standards. And now this game, so I don't know how many games it's been, like 6 or 7. So 5 out of 6, 5 out of 7. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. It's kind of a, if you wanted to bet on who's going to win the Super Bowl, it's kind of a component of talent and consistency. And, again, I want to bet on the team that's most consistent. It's the reason why, despite not believing the Chiefs are a good team, I believe that they're probably going to win the freaking Super Bowl again. Because the one thing I'm pretty confident in with the Chiefs is that they're going to do everything that they can and everything that they need to do to win a game. And in order to beat them, you're going to have to make sure that you give 100%. And most teams probably are not going to do that. Because as frustrating as it is, and again, as much as everybody that's upset doesn't want to hear it, this is not a uniquely Packers problem. It is a Packers problem, no doubt about it. It's a very persistent and annoying Packers problem. It's not just a Packers problem. There's absolutely a reason why a lot of teams have not won. We get mad because the 49ers evict us every year. Yeah, how many Super Bowls do the 49ers have, by the way? Oh, yeah, 0. How many Super Bowls do the Bengals have? Do the Ravens have? Do the Bills have? These teams get to the playoffs every year. They don't win it. Why? It's not because the Chiefs are better than them. It seems like every year Buffalo comes in as the hottest team in the AFC. Does it ever matter? No. Bills are not going to win Super Bowl this year. You know how I know? Because it's the freaking Bills. That's how I know. Ravens probably aren't either. They're better than the Chiefs. They're going to play the Chiefs. They're going to lose to the Chiefs. But here's the other side of that coin. As much as I'm pretty confident that the Packers are probably going to have a bad day at some point in the playoffs and lose, that doesn't mean I know that they're going to, which is to say that it may happen at any given time, but it also may not happen right away. So I don't know that they lose to the Vikings or the Lions in the playoffs. In fact, I think that there's a pretty decent chance that they beat them. I'm just relatively confident that they're not going to be consistent all the way through enough to be able to win a Super Bowl. Because that's the real challenge. But maybe they will. I don't know. But I would love it if somebody could just recognize, again, it's like the whole Romeo Dobbs thing where it's like, well, no, I mean, that's just his personality and he's fine and everything's great. I don't know, man. Maybe we're a little bit too much Romeo Dobbs, where it's just, that first time we kind of got introduced to Romeo being kind of introspective kind of fella was when, I don't remember who it was, somebody like yelled in his ear or something, one of the receivers, and he just kind of went, see you at work tomorrow. And it's just kind of a funny one-off thing, and I don't super want to make too much of it, but maybe there is too much, like we'll see you at work tomorrow kind of a thing. Is this just a job? Is this just a... This is where it's funny because fans get pissy when the team doesn't play at a high level, but at the same time, the same fan base will turn around and scold you if you expect exceptionalism from anybody. I'm very sorry, but if you want to win a Super Bowl, then exceptionalism is the only way that that's going to happen. So yes, if you don't do anything in the off season, I'm going to say something about it, and I don't want to hear anybody say, you don't take vacations? Well, they're not allowed to take a vacation? They can do whatever they want. If you don't show up in the off season, it's not a big deal. Who cares? It's Aaron Rodgers. He can do whatever he wants. Who are you to tell him what to do? Okay, I don't expect you to win a Super Bowl if that's your mentality about things. You obviously don't care very much. The people who are going to do well are people who are going to be obsessed with this thing day and night. We have this weird, and this happens, I hear this in other sectors as well, where it's like, there's no perfect candidate. There's just a bunch of good enough candidates. That's such just complete bull crap. The entire NFL is filled with the most exceptional people in the world. You think just like anybody from high school probably could have been there as well, would have been just as good? What are you even talking about? The gap between really good, like just as far as like across the United States is concerned, and the level of exceptional you have to be an NFL player is shockingly wide. And that goes for coaches, that goes for GM. Like, well, that's There's no perfect candidate. There's just a bunch of like good enough candidates, and there's a pool of probably 10 qualified candidates, and you just pick from one. Bull crap. And I hate to pick on Romeo because he does seem to be one of those guys that's working when everybody else is sleeping. So maybe it's unfair to pick on him. But, part of it is effort and part of it is attitude. I make fun of A.J. Dillon for sitting around playing video games. And a lot of these guys we hear about, they go home and they play, MVS, plays video games and whatnot. How many guys did you hear went home and played video games and also were like Hall of Fame players? Is it roughly zero? Kyler Murray. What's the thing with Kyler Murray? His anti-Toyotathon. When this, I don't even know what it is, something about Call of Duty has like this new release thing that comes out or whatever. And suddenly his play falls off every single year. And by the way, he had something in his contract basically saying that he shouldn't be allowed to do this. And everybody was in an uproar. How dare you say that, Dave? How dare you? Because the team expects exceptionalism. And when they put that in his contract, that you're not allowed to be a lazy piece of garbage, everybody got outraged. How dare you overstep in such a horrific way? And so they stripped it out, and now they have a quarterback that just doesn't show up at the end of the year because he wants to play video games all day long. So I guess my hope is that there is, at some point, a wake-up call to some people. I don't know which ones. There needs to be a different energy. And again, like the Packer fans making fun of the Vikings locker room for celebrating that much for a regular season win because it's pathetic. Is it pathetic? Maybe. Maybe it is pathetic. I don't know. Maybe it's not a bad thing to care that much about winning. I don't know. What do we know? Maybe we shouldn't be so proud in the level of excitement that we have toward football games because stuff like this happens. It's hard to imagine people that care as much as they supposedly do about football to just have such a lack of focus. What is causing you to have no focus? Who is it that keeps calling in saying that Malik Heath is a guy that's playing like his child's life is on the line or something to that effect? That's the point, right? There are certain guys that, maybe they're not the most talented, but if that ball's coming, they will not let it hit the ground. And just as a thought experiment, pick any one drop that upset you the most in that game. Okay, let's rerun that. And this time we tell that player, Romeo, Reed, Wicks, whatever, if you drop this ball, your entire family is going to die. Do you think they drop the ball? Zero chance they drop the ball. You know why? Because the level of intense focus. You know why they are dropping the ball? The complete lack of intense focus. And that was, and the fact that it keeps happening, it's seemingly, these things happen where the entire team doesn't have focus. And I can't help but sit and ponder what would cause something like that. It could just be a coincidence because we know sometimes, every game somebody's having a bad day. So maybe this is one of those really bad things where, each player has like a 1 in 10 chance of having a bad day. And, every once in a while, they all just fall on the same day. Maybe, but it certainly feels more sinister than that, doesn't it? Let me just put it this way. If I was Matt LaFleur, I would be, my security team, my coaches, and everybody else would be very, very intent on making sure that we have a very good understanding of what our players are doing. Especially after games like this. I want to know exactly what everybody's doing. And if I find out that, maybe we're staying up late, we're on the road, maybe a couple guys went out late and got some drinks, maybe this entire week there was less preparation and more time spent doing X, Y, and Z, I would need to know that as the coach. And I would certainly be investigating that because I'd be looking at certain games like this. You look at Matt LaFleur on the sideline, just throwing his hands up going, what is happening right now? It's a good question, Matt. And if I was you, I would try to find out. Because I would be very pissed and take it very personal if I was the head coach and I spent the amount of time, the amount of hours away from my family, locked in my office, putting together a game plan to beat this team that is a bitter rival, just to have your guys not be able to execute basic bull crap. And I don't know what Matt LaFleur is saying to the team, but I would be a vicious, absolutely, that team would not like me very much, and I would not give a crap. I would tell all the position coaches and whatnot, make sure you're really tight with these guys because they're going to hate me. And I want them to stay somewhat connected to the coaching staff, but they are going to freaking hate me. And I would say I would love to have the media ask Matt LaFleur what you say, but I'm sure he wouldn't give an answer. And even if he did, it would be such an unsatisfactory answer. I'm hating the idea that Matt LaFleur isn't doing much about it, and I just can't help but feel like there isn't much being done about this. And maybe, I don't know, I can't imagine guys like Halfley and those defensive guys especially are not screaming at people in the meeting rooms and whatnot, but I feel like Matt LaFleur needs to be that guy just one time. You get everybody in that freaking auditorium, and he just needs to tear everybody apart. There needs to be, and I know Gutekunst is a freaking serial killer. He doesn't give a crap. If Matt LaFleur, or if Gutekunst gets the impression that somebody's not trying, he will cut them in a second. He does not care. He will not tolerate that. I need Matt LaFleur to be that way. Again, and maybe he is. I don't know what's going on in the locker room, but what I need from a head coach is a very simple message. The people that play for the Green Bay Packers are the people that are psychotically obsessed with one goal, and that is living up to our standard, which is Super Bowls here. It's championships. It's perfection. And some of you don't seem to want to live up to that standard, and that's fine. Because win, lose, or draw this season, we're going to go back and find out which one of you want to be here and which one of you don't, and you will not be here. You want to go out and party during the season? You're not going to be here. You can do that all in the off season. We only want the most psychotically obsessed people that are obsessed with being the best. And we are going to pay them all the riches that person can handle. We will reward you thoroughly for being the greatest. But we will not tolerate anything less than greatness. You will be cut. And you can go play for the Bears because they don't give a crap. You can go back to those teams that don't care. Go talk to Josh Jacobs about what it's like playing for teams that don't care. If you don't care, you go play for them. You don't play here. And then what I would do after that, and I would tell the players that this is about to happen, all these coaches are going to go back and we're all going to review tape. And we're going to find out which ones of you did not show up in this game, did not perform up to a level, and you and I are going to have a talk one-on-one. And we're going to talk about your future. Now, Matt LaFleur would never want to do that to somebody like Jordan Love, because once these guys get big contracts, or Jair or whatever, well, then they're just untouchable. I don't give a crap. If you think for 1 second I wouldn't threaten Jordan Love with Malik Willis, you're out of your mind, because I absolutely would do that. You think this contract makes you safe, you're out of your mind. I talked to Gutekunst, we make some changes to your contract, and you are gone. Because again, if I'm Matt LaFleur, I am so tired of it. As frustrated as fans as we are, I can't imagine being the head coach saying they're going to do it again. They're going to do it again. We're going to get into the playoffs. And we're going to, I can call every perfect play. Me and Halfley and everybody else, we could do all the perfect things. And these freaking jagoffs are going to lose us the game again. They're going to make the wrong reads. They're going to fumble the ball. They're going to drop passes. They're just going to take plays off. And we're going to lose again. Again, very simply, I would tell them, I'm sick of it, and I'm not doing this again. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wipe the slate clean. We're going to have our mano-y-manos. We're going to talk about your future. And then we're wiping the slate clean and we're done. And I'm not counting anything that happened in the past against you. But moving forward, I have expectations, and you will meet them or you will not be here. It's for some of you on the bubble, that should be massively encouraging. Because there's many people that probably should be gone. But you know what? You want to earn your spot? Earn it. Earn it. And to those of you who got paid and think that you're perfectly safe, let me promise you right this second that's not the case. I don't care if your name is Jair or Rashawn or Jordan or whoever. I don't care, because I'm sick of it. No, I'm not going to go get you free agents. We're not going to go add talent, because it doesn't matter. Because we bring people here, and then they stop playing well, and then we lose. And then what? I'm going to blame, the GM? I'm going to blame some deficiency out there? There's no deficiency. We have more than enough people here to be able to execute what we need to execute. You're either going to do it or you're not. You get no help. Do your effing job. And you are going to hate me, because I'm going to be in your business 24/7. Remember, there was a thing with LaShawn McCoy. He got really mad at Chip Kelly because Chip Kelly found out that he had stayed up late, and he called him into his office and was like, you can't be doing that or whatever. And he's like, how dare you do that? I'm going to do that. And you know what? If you don't want to be treated like a child, then you shouldn't be doing stuff like this. You want freedom? Show me that you can handle it. Just makes me annoyed with all these little cutesy videos that Packers.com put out, the social media team, whatever, where it's we're going to make all these funny little cutesy videos. The guys walk in, talk about their favorite pizza toppings or stew. It's I don't know. Just everything's annoying as hell right now, because at some point things have got to get serious. And I don't know that things are serious right now. It's been great. It's been wonderful. But these complete implosions, they just keep happening year after year after year after year. And what this Vikings game taught us is that it's probably going to happen again. We're going to see it again. And we're not going to lose based on talent. We're going to lose based on a team that just doesn't show up. Seen it year after year. Aaron Rodgers can't get a pass off because the offensive line just can't block. Why? I don't know. Just the offensive line as a whole didn't show up today. And we're going to go out in embarrassing fashion. We're going to go out in a way that makes it seem as though we shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. We're going to get embarrassed, and it's probably going to be to a division rival as we help to elevate them toward the Super Bowl. There should not be a single thing on your mind right now as we get this close to the playoffs. Not a single thing on your mind other than football. The people that win are people like Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes. You know why they win? Because they're obsessed. Because they're freaking psychotically obsessed, and it's the only thing they care about. And if you think I'm being too harsh and, well, you shouldn't be doing all that, fine. Then don't complain when the team doesn't do anything. Because it's the psychotically obsessed people that win. And if you want this to be a relaxed atmosphere where guys don't have to be so, they can have their life outside of football and they can spend time with their friends and their family and their girlfriends and their fiancés and their wives. And they put in like the designated hours at the office and a little bit of time on film here and there. But you know what? Mostly they kick back and enjoy their millions. If that's what you want for the team, that's fine. Then I don't want to hear you complaining when they don't win a Super Bowl because they won't. Okay? Okay. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.